Hey guys, it's Jess and welcome to my channel, A Card Day's Work. Today I have the honor of participating in a very meaningful video hop to support people of color in the crafting community, but more than that, to show that the fight for equality is far from over and there is still so much left that we can do. It may seem difficult to know where to begin or what to do to help in our own ways, so I wanted to share one amazing thing that you can do just by making cards that can actually make a really big difference in other people's lives. And that is representation. A lot of people may not know what that means. Basically, what it means is we have choices when we make our cards of what the characters look like, what color their skin is, what kind of hair they have, do they have texture in their hair. These decisions seem small in the moment, and they don't seem like they would make that big of a difference, but they do. Is that these could make a huge difference in a child's life if they see themselves represented on a card as a superhero for a birthday card or whatever the type of card is. Could make a huge difference for them to see themselves as the protagonist, as the star of the show, as the superhero, as the doctor, whatever the case is. It is so important for children to be able to see themselves and be recognized and represented in media all across the world. But card making is something that I can handle and I can make a change in. So for today's video, I wanted to show you guys an easy way that you can modify stamps that you already have that may not be representative of people of color, but you can actually modify those, change them up, and make them represent those people of color. That way children and adults all across the world will be able to see themselves represented in your cards. I hope that you guys like the video today, that you'll stick with me and see how this all came together, and let me know what you think about it down in the comments. I hope that you guys will try this, and let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so to get started, you can see that I've stamped out this adorable little superhero image from My Favorite Things, and I am starting to color his hair in brown. So I did one layer in just the lightest brown color, and then I'm going in with progressively darker shades of brown and doing spiral, loopy, sort of curly patterns with each of those colors. Now the reason that I'm doing this is to give the hair the appearance that it has really beautiful curls with that brown and black sort of look to it. And then I actually went outside of the originally drawn area. Now you can do this one of two ways. You could mask off the top of his head and draw in your own hair, or you can do what I did and just stamp out the image as per normal, and then go ahead and draw in your own little areas on the top that go outside of that area. Now, depending on the medium you use, you may need to do the masking bit, because sometimes with the inks you use or the coloring medium you choose, they may look a little shiny on the area where you've gone over a stamped line or colored outside of that area. There may be a little bit of a difference in the color. So kind of test things out and see how it works for you, and then make your decision from there. To add a little bit more of the highlighted areas, I did take a white gel pen and sort of put little curved lines where some of the highlights might have fallen on those curves. They were a little too white and vibrant in my opinion, so I just took my finger and smushed it right onto the gel pen while it was still wet, and that gives it a more faded look. I do this quite frequently if gel pen lines look a little bit too intense for me, and it works fairly well. Alright, so I'm just going to be doing some coloring with my alcohol markers. I'm going to pop on some music for you guys for the rest of this coloring, and then I'll be back with you to put the card together. All right, so now that the coloring and the ink blending is all done, I am ready to go ahead and take off that little mask that I cut using out some post-it note stickers, or their full sticky back post-it notes. I'll have everything linked down below in case you guys want to check anything out that I'm using today. But then I did do a little bit of ink blending on top of the edges of his hair. So I went back over that with my alcohol markers and cleaned up the edges so that it didn't look like it had an orange tint around the outside. And that was good to go. So once I did that, I did go ahead and get my mini MISTI out, and I got a cute little sentiment ready to go. I wanted to go ahead and do some heat embossing. I've been really enjoying doing white heat embossing on my ink blended backgrounds lately. The problem is that you do have to wait until they are absolutely dry, or else you will get stray embossing powder everywhere. Ask me how I know. And so you may want to let these sit overnight or use a heat tool to dry it. 100% you do need to treat it with an anti-static powder just to make sure that that embossing powder doesn't stick where you don't want it. You go ahead and stamp that with the clear embossing ink, pour on the white embossing powder and tap off the excess, and then you can go ahead and melt that with your heat tool. Once that is nice and melted and has had time to cool down, you can go ahead and trim down your panel if it's larger. Mine actually was already 4 by 5 1/4, so it was the perfect size already, and I didn't even need to trim it. So I just used my ATG there to adhere this card panel to a white A2 size card base, and I didn't really want to do anything else to this card as far as embellishments go. The only thing I did was add a little bit of shading and shadow underneath where he's standing so that it looks like he's actually standing on the ground instead of just sort of like floating in the air somewhere. I feel like that makes a huge difference with these cards, and I really, really like the way that this turned out. That finished off the card, you guys. I hope you love it. Be sure to check out the description down below for all the details on the hop that Justine Hovey has put together. There's links to her blog post, and the next person in the hop is linked down below as well. So don't forget to check that out. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Have an awesome day, and I'll see you in the next one.